Logan Hale knew trouble was coming the moment he found the white Tesla Model X parked sideways across his private gate, doors folded upward like wings blocking every inch of the entrance. He had just returned from a long hauling shift, the sun burning low and orange over the treetops, when his headlights illuminated the chrome badge. And standing beside it, arms folded, chin raised like a general surveying conquered territory, stood Karen Draymore. She didn't look startled. She looked prepared. "Logan," she called out, tapping her tablet with manicured precision, "we need to discuss your gate-violating HOA sightline codes." Logan stayed in his truck, engine idling, hands loose on the wheel. "My gate isn't in your HOA," he said slowly. Karen smiled, the kind of smile someone uses right before calling a lawyer. "We'll see about that." A chill ran up Logan's spine. This wasn't an accident. This was a siege. As Logan stepped out, Karen lifted her tablet and snapped photos like rapid-fire gunshots, documenting every angle of his property as if she already owned it. "You're trespassing on community property, Logan. This entire road is under HOA control." She waved dramatically toward the trees. Logan pointed to the rusted sign, half covered in pine needles, that read, "Private road, deeded access only, Hale Family Estate since 1974. Karen didn't even glance at it. "The board has voted. Majority rules." It hit Logan like a punch. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a takeover attempt. He tried squeezing around the Tesla on foot, but Karen stepped in front of him, blocking his path like she owned the air he breathed. "You can wait," she snapped. "I'm not finished." Something inside Logan tightened. This wasn't just about a gate. Karen wanted control of him. Logan didn't touch her car. He simply took out his phone to record. Karen's reaction was instant. She spun, dialing her phone, her voice rising so fast it cracked. 911? Yes, he's threatening me. He's trying to damage my vehicle." Logan froze. He wasn't within 5 feet of her Tesla. She was fabricating a threat in real time on recording. Deputy Reed Callahan's patrol SUV rolled up moments later, kicking gravel. He stepped out with the weariness of a man who'd mediated too many HOA tantrums. "What's going on now?" he muttered, looking between them. Karen rushed toward him. "Arrest him! He threatened to ram my Tesla!" Reed turned to Logan. "You touch her car?" Logan's reply was ice cold. "Didn't need to. She blocked the only way to my house." Reed sighed. He knew this was going to get worse, much worse. The deputy walked the property line with Logan, voice low. "Look, you're in the right, but Karen doesn't stop. She escalates until someone snaps." Logan nodded. "I'm not snapping. I'm planning." Reed stared at him. "That's what worries me." Meanwhile, Karen paced near her Tesla like a general preparing for war, shouting at Arthur Briggs over speakerphone about emergency HOA measures. Her volume alone could have cracked glass. Logan filmed everything: the gate, the road, the signs, Karen's tantrum, her false police call. A slow smile formed on his face. Karen had triggered the one thing she shouldn't have: Logan's need to document every move. He would let her dig her own grave and use her own evidence to bury her. The next morning, Logan left for supplies at dawn. When he returned, the Tesla was back. Same place, same blockade. Karen stood beside it, holding coffee like a guard posted at a prison yard gate. "You're late," she said. "We have HOA matters to discuss." Logan didn't respond. He simply recorded. Karen smirked. "Recording won't save you." Logan walked away, calm. Too calm. Karen's grin faltered. She could sense something had shifted. He wasn't arguing anymore. He wasn't protesting. He was waiting. And nothing scared an HOA tyrant more than silence. At sunset, Logan walked toward his equipment shed. Karen noticed and marched over, heels punching into the dirt. "What are you doing? You are not authorized to—" A deep metallic growl shook the ground. Karen froze. The shed door rolled open, and out came Maddox, Logan's old logging truck. 7 tons of reinforced steel and roaring diesel, its grill like a predator's jaw. Karen stumbled backward. "That thing isn't street legal." Logan climbed into the driver's seat, the engine snarling beneath him. He shifted into gear, he leaned out the window. "You're right, it's not for the street. It's for whatever's blocking my gate." Karen's face went pale. For the first time, she realized Logan Hale wasn't bluffing. He never did. The logging truck roared forward, inching toward the Tesla like a beast tasting blood. Karen shrieked and threw herself between the vehicles. "You can't! I'll sue you into the Stone Age!" Logan didn't blink. From the cab, he pointed to his phone mounted on the dash, recording in full HD. "Move your car, Karen." Her voice cracked. "This is community property. You have to—" Logan revved the engine. Karen jumped back. The Tesla sat still, its white paint glowing in the amber sunset like prey caught in headlights. Karen finally scrambled inside, slamming the door and peeling out, tires screeching against gravel. Logan watched her go. Her fear wasn't satisfaction, it was a warning sign. She wasn't done. She was regrouping, and Karen always came back harder. That night, across the road, Karen stood in her driveway like a dictator addressing an army. HOA members gathered with folding chairs, iced tea, and gossiping mouths. Arthur Briggs shook as he read from a clipboard, voice trembling. "New emergency motion. Authorize the HOA to intervene directly in disputes involving problem property owners." Karen whispered sharply, "Say his name." Arthur swallowed. "Logan Hale." The crowd gasped. Karen lifted a thick binder, slamming it onto a table. "He is obstructive, he is dangerous, and he operates heavy industrial machinery. We must take over his access point for community safety." The crowd murmured nervously. Karen smirked, knowing she had them. But Logan wasn't watching through binoculars. He had night vision cameras hidden in the tree line, angled at the HOA meeting. Every word, every vote, every threat, captured, saved, dated, and soon weaponized. The next morning, Logan tried to open his gate. It wouldn't budge. The chain had been cut, the lock replaced, a fresh HOA sign was zip-tied to the metal. Community access point, subject to HOA control. Logan felt a cold, simmering anger. Karen had crossed into criminal territory. Her voice came from behind him, syrup sweet, fake kind. "Good morning, Logan. We've taken temporary administrative authority over your gate. Please consult the bylaws." He turned slowly. "You broke my lock." She corrected him. "We updated your lock." He stepped closer. She stepped back. "You made a mistake," Logan said quietly. "No, you did. You underestimated how powerful an HOA can be." She walked away confidently. She didn't see Logan checking his hidden camera feed. The whole sabotage had been caught crystal clear. Deputy Reed pulled up an hour later, already rubbing his temples. "Logan, what happened?" Logan showed him the footage. Karen cutting the chain herself, laughing with Arthur, planting the sign. Reed exhaled sharply. "That's felony vandalism, trespassing, interference with private access." "So arrest her," Logan said. Reed looked torn. "You know how it is. Karen floods dispatch with nonsense calls every week. She has lawyers, and the sheriff doesn't want a political headache." Logan stared at him. "I'll handle it." Reed stiffened. "Logan, don't do anything stupid." Logan's voice was quiet. "I won't." But the look in his eyes said he already had a plan. Karen escalated again. At 2 in the afternoon, Logan's cameras captured her returning with Arthur and 2 HOA board members. Arthur held bolt cutters. Karen held a fresh lock. She commanded like a drill sergeant, "Remove that chain, replace it with ours, document everything, he will not control this gate." They obeyed. Karen parked her Tesla across the entrance again, this time turning on sentry mode, pointed directly at Logan's gate like a surveillance turret. Then she looked up at Logan's camera in the tree and flipped it off. That was her proclamation of war. Logan didn't yell, he didn't warn her. He simply whispered to himself, "Okay, you want a blockade? Then I'll give you one." He turned toward the shed. Night fell. Deep in Logan's shed, Maddox sat silent until he twisted the ignition. The engine growled like a waking animal. He tightened chains around the reinforced front bumper, checked the hydraulic rams, loaded steel logs onto the flatbed, and secured everything with methods only a professional logger would know. His sister Brooke called, "Logan, please don't do anything reckless."
His voice was calm. "I'm not. I'm doing something necessary." He drove Maddox toward the gate, slow, steady, unstoppable. The Tesla's sentry mode spotlight flicked on, recognizing a threat. Logan smirked. "Finally, you're recording something useful." He angled the truck's lights directly at the Tesla. The logging truck's massive shadows swallowed the sleek electric car. Then, Logan put Maddox in forward gear, just enough to send a message. Tomorrow morning, Karen would face the consequences of her own blockade. Karen strutted toward Logan's gate the next morning like she always did, clipboard in hand, HOA badge swinging, phone recording. She was already rehearsing her lines when she froze mid-sentence. Her Tesla was gone, not stolen, not towed, just gone. She spun around wildly. "Arthur, where's my car?" Arthur stumbled up behind her, confused. "It was right here, I swear. Karen, Karen grabbed him. "It can't just vanish!" But it hadn't vanished. It had been moved. When the rising sun hit the tree line, Karen saw it. Her Tesla, dragged 50 feet down the gravel, sideways, tires chewed, nose buried in the dirt. Sentry mode had recorded everything. The footage showed one thing: the silhouette of Logan's logging truck slowly towing it away. Karen's scream echoed across the trees. She stormed up to Logan's porch next morning like she always did, clipboard in hand, HOA badge swinging, phone recording. She was already rehearsing her lines when she froze mid-sentence. Her Tesla was gone, not stolen, not towed, just gone. She spun around wildly. "Arthur, where's my car?" Arthur stumbled up behind her, confused. "It was right here, I swear. Karen, Karen grabbed him. "It can't just vanish!" But it hadn't vanished. It had been moved. When the rising sun hit the tree line, Karen saw it. Her Tesla, dragged 50 feet down the gravel, sideways, tires chewed, nose buried in the dirt. Sentry mode had recorded everything. The footage showed one thing: the silhouette of Logan's logging truck slowly towing it away. Karen's scream echoed across the trees. She stormed up to Logan's porch next morning like she always did, clipboard in hand, HOA badge swinging, phone recording. She was already rehearsing her lines when she froze mid-sentence. Her Tesla was gone, not stolen, not towed, just gone. She spun around wildly. "Arthur, where's my car?" Arthur stumbled up behind her, confused. "It was right here, I swear. Karen, Karen grabbed him. "It can't just vanish!" But it hadn't vanished. It had been moved. When the rising sun hit the tree line, Karen saw it. Her Tesla, dragged 50 feet down the gravel, sideways, tires chewed, nose buried in the dirt. Sentry mode had recorded everything. The footage showed one thing: the silhouette of Logan's logging truck slowly towing it away.
Karen hissed, "So is dragging my Tesla." The HOA sheepishly nodded, afraid to challenge her. Karen raised a sledgehammer. "We install it tonight." But across the road, hidden cameras watched the entire meeting from 3 angles. Logan viewed it live on his phone. He whispered, "Perfect. Keep digging your own grave." At midnight, Karen and 4 HOA members carried steel poles, anchors, concrete bags, and the giant barricade panel. Arthur filmed everything as instructed, shaking the whole time. "Quick," Karen ordered, "before Hale sees us." But Logan saw everything. Night vision cameras, motion alerts, audio capture. Karen hammered stakes into the ground. Arthur poured concrete. 2 board members lifted the barricade into place. Karen stepped back, admiring the illegal blockade. "This will teach him." Logan's voice suddenly echoed from a hidden speaker mounted in the trees. "Thanks. Got the footage I needed." Karen shrieked, spinning in circles. "Logan, where are you?" His voice came again, calm and cold. "You're in my yard." Karen dropped the hammer. Board members ran. Arthur nearly fainted. Karen screamed into the darkness, "You can't prove anything!" But Logan whispered one final line through the speaker. "Everything you did just now was live-streamed to cloud storage." Karen's face went ghost white. The next morning, Karen marched to Logan's gate to inspect damages. Then she saw it. The logging truck, Maddox, was positioned directly in front of the illegal barricade, engine running, bumper inches away from steel. Logan stood beside it with Deputy Reed. Reed looked furious. "Karen, I have 4 hours of footage showing your HOA committing property interference, vandalism, trespass, unlawful blockade." Karen snapped, "I did this for community safety. Logan is a danger." Reed stepped aside. "Then explain why you cut his chain, why you blocked his driveway, why you parked your Tesla on private land, why you ordered this barricade." Karen's confidence cracked. The board, it was a collective decision." Arthur croaked behind her. "No, it wasn't. You made all of us." Karen elbowed him so hard he yelped. Reed looked at Logan. "You want to press charges?" Logan gave one simple answer. "Not yet." Karen flinched. Not no, not later, not yet. A threat disguised as mercy. Reed walked away to file reports. Karen stayed frozen, sweat running down her neck. Logan climbed into Maddox. Karen panicked. "Logan, stop! You can't! I'll call!" He revved the engine. Karen stumbled backwards. "Please, don't!" Logan put the truck in neutral, letting the bumper merely tap the barricade. The entire steel structure rattled violently. Karen screamed like someone witnessing an earthquake. Logan shut off the engine and stepped out. "I'm not crushing your barricade." Karen exhaled shakily. Good, because that would be... I'm forcing you to remove it." Karen's eyes widened. She stuttered, "Or what?" Logan pointed to the Tesla, still lying in the ditch. "Or I finish what I started." Karen's legs nearly gave out. She realized something devastating. Logan wasn't trying to win. He was trying to end her reign. And he was very, very close. Night fell over the Hale property, and the forest grew unnervingly quiet. Logan welded the last industrial steel barrier across his gate, sparks lighting his determined face as he reinforced every joint. Behind him, Brooke watched with folded arms, her breath fogging in the cold air. "She's coming tonight," she whispered. From the road, distant headlights flickered through the trees. Multiple sets. Karen wasn't alone. Logan stepped forward, wiped soot from his face, and said quietly, "Let her try." The engine stopped. Silence stretched across the darkness like a held breath. Then loudspeakers crackled from somewhere beyond the tree line. Karen's voice screeched through them. "Logan Hale, remove that illegal barrier now, or we will remove it for you." Logan muttered under his breath, "Come and get it." He tightened his gloves. War was about to begin. A chainsaw roared somewhere in the darkness. Someone was coming for the barrier.
Karen's HOA militia moved through the shadows. Half a dozen men in reflective vests carried bolt cutters, crowbars, and a gas-powered saw. They advanced on Logan's property like an invasion force, confident in their numbers. Logan's cameras caught everything. He flipped a switch inside his shed. Floodlights slammed on. Blinding white light flooded the entrance. The HOA men froze like animals caught in headlights, shielding their eyes. Karen screeched from somewhere behind them, "Cut the gate, now!" They struggled with the barrier. Sparks flew, the saw whined. Metal resisted, but Logan had engineered this barrier himself with logging-grade steel and industrial welds. It wasn't budging. Logan stepped out with a megaphone, his voice calm, cold, surgical. "Every second you stay here is recorded. Sheriff Rayner already has the feed. You break that gate, you break state law." Karen's eyes widened in the harsh light. "You wouldn't dare call him." Logan lifted his phone, screen already showing an active call. "He called me first." Sirens began wailing in the distance, growing louder. But they came from two directions, converging on the scene. Two sheriff SUVs skidded onto the road, lights flashing red and blue through the trees. Sheriff Rayner and Deputy Reed jumped out simultaneously, hands on their belts. Sheriff Rayner shouted across the chaos, "Everyone step away from the barrier now!" Karen marched forward, finger stabbing in the air. "Sheriff, arrest him! He crushed my Tesla! He blocked public HOA access!" Sheriff Rayner's face was stone. "Karen, that's a private logging access road. Nothing here belongs to your HOA. I've reviewed the county records myself." The HOA members looked around nervously, suddenly aware they were standing on the wrong side of the law. Logan crossed his arms. "Would you like the footage of your people trying to cut my gate?" Karen glared daggers at him.
Rayner looked at her crew. "Anyone here want to explain why you're armed with illegal cutting equipment on private property at midnight?" No one spoke. The chainsaw lay abandoned in the dirt. Rayner shook his head slowly. "Karen Draymore, step aside. You're about to dig yourself deeper than you can climb out of." Karen whispered through clenched teeth, "This isn't over." She secretly signaled one man who slipped away into the forest behind the barrier while everyone focused on the confrontation. While the sheriff dealt with paperwork and statements, the hidden HOA saboteur crept through the trees. He found Logan's auxiliary power box mounted on a utility pole hidden among the pines. He whispered to himself, "Karen wants the gate open. Fine. No power, no gate." He pulled out a pry bar and wedged it against the box. But Logan had anticipated this. A motion-triggered spotlight slammed on directly above him, and a loud alarm shrieked through the forest. The man panicked, dropped the pry bar, tripped over a root, and fell face first into the mud. Logan appeared behind him with a flashlight, beam cutting through the darkness. "Wrong forest, friend." The saboteur stammered, mud dripping from his face. She said you'd stolen HOA land." Logan helped him up, surprisingly gentle. "Tell Karen this. I'm done defending. Next move is offense." The saboteur ran, crashing through underbrush until he disappeared. Logan closed the power box, jaw tight, mind already forming the next plan. His phone buzzed. A message from Harold Langford, the retired county clerk who lived 3 miles down the main road. The old man had been watching Karen's HOA for years. The message contained a screenshot of Karen's newest filing. Logan read it and felt his blood turned cold. It was worse. Much worse. Langford's message read, "Karen is filing an emergency injunction against your entire property. Claims your logging truck incident is clear evidence of violent tendencies. They want forced access and a full investigation into your mental fitness." Brooke looked over his shoulder. "What do we do now?" Logan stared at his land, his gate, the forest his family had protected for 50 years. We take away her power, legally, permanently. He called his attorney first, then the county zoning commission, then the rural infrastructure board. He wasn't asking for help, he was pulling records. HOA violations dating back 15 years, illegal encroachments onto county easements, road maintenance funds that vanished without explanation, budget irregularities that smelled like fraud.
Karen had no idea what was coming. She thought Logan was reacting emotionally, flailing against her superior organization. But he was planning strategically, building a case that would crush her empire from the foundation up. Logan scheduled a mandatory emergency hearing at the county level. Karen was legally required to attend. She would have to answer for everything under oath. Inside the county auditorium 3 days later, Karen stormed through the doors with her board behind her. Arthur Briggs shuffled nervously at her heels. 2 other board members looked like they wanted to be anywhere else. Logan sat calmly at the respondents' table, documents arranged in a neat folder. Sheriff Rayner sat beside him as a witness, arms crossed. The commissioner, a gray-haired woman named Margaret Chen, read aloud from the formal complaint. Karen Draymore, you are accused of trespassing on private property, attempted forced entry, unauthorized road usage claims, filing fraudulent land boundary documents, property damage through negligent vehicle placement, and instigating an unauthorized paramilitary-style HOA enforcement action. Karen slammed her hands on the table. This is insane! He crushed my car! He threatened residents! Logan responded, voice low and steady. After you blocked access to my private road, the same road that served as my designated emergency medical access route, registered with the county fire department. Gasps filled the room. Several audience members whispered to each other. The commissioner leaned forward. Is this true, Ms. Draymore? You blocked a registered emergency access route? Karen's face drained of color. The HOA had concerns about community safety required. A simple yes or no, Ms. Draymore. Karen's mouth opened and closed. No sound came out. The commissioner reviewed the documents Logan had submitted. Deeds dating back to 1974, survey maps, county road designations, HOA boundary filings that directly contradicted official records. It appears, Commissioner Chen said slowly, that the Meadowbrook HOA has been claiming authority over roads and properties that were never within its jurisdiction. These false claims go back at least a decade. Arthur Briggs squeaked from behind Karen. We didn't know. She told us the lawyers had verified everything. Karen spun around. Shut up, Arthur. But the damage was done. The board members were already distancing themselves, sliding their chairs away from Karen as if she were contagious. The commissioner delivered the preliminary ruling. Effective immediately, the Meadowbrook HOA Association is stripped of all claimed authority outside its officially registered boundaries. A full audit of HOA finances and land claims will be conducted. Ms. Draymore, you are personally named in a formal investigation. Karen collapsed into her seat, face ashen. The commissioner turned to Logan. Mr. Hale, regarding the damages you've sustained and the harassment you've documented, you have the right to pursue civil action. Given the evidence presented, I suspect you would prevail. Logan nodded slowly. I'll consider my options.
The hearing concluded, but the aftermath was just beginning. Outside the auditorium, Karen's board members scattered like roaches in light. Arthur practically ran to his car. The others refused to make eye contact with anyone. Karen stood alone on the courthouse steps, shaking with barely contained rage. Logan walked past her, car keys in hand. "You ruined me," she hissed. He paused, turning to face her one final time. "No, Karen, you did that yourself. Every scheme, every lie, every time you cut my locks or blocked my gate or filed false reports, I just documented it. All I did was finish the paperwork." Karen had no response. For the first time in perhaps her entire life, she was completely powerless. Logan climbed into his truck and drove away. In his rearview mirror, he watched Karen shrink until she was just a speck, standing alone outside the courthouse, surrounded by the ruins of her petty kingdom.
Logan considered the question. I didn't want a war. I wanted to be left alone. She forced every bit of this. He gestured toward his gate, now reinforced with professional-grade steel and equipped with a camera system that would make a security company jealous. I just wanted to protect what's mine. Rayner nodded slowly. Well, you did that, and then some. He drove away, leaving Logan alone with his thoughts and his land. That evening, Brooke came by with takeout from the diner in town. They sat on Logan's porch, watching the sun set behind the tree line, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. You know, Brooke said between bites, you could have just moved, found somewhere without crazy neighbors. Logan shook his head. This land has been in our family for 50 years. Grandpa cleared it himself. Dad built this house with his own hands. You don't abandon that because some HOA tyrant decides she wants control. Brooke smiled. You sound like Dad. I'll take that as a compliment. They sat in comfortable silence as darkness crept over the forest. Somewhere in the distance an owl called out. The trees rustled in the evening breeze. Logan's gate stood strong at the end of his driveway, a testament to stubbornness and principle. He thought about Karen, probably packing boxes right now, preparing to flee the community she had tried so hard to dominate. He thought about Arthur and the other board members finally free from her influence. He thought about all the neighbors who had been too afraid to stand up to her for years. Maybe his fight had given them permission to push back too. Maybe the next time someone like Karen tried to seize power they didn't deserve, people would remember what happened at the Hale property and find their own courage. Or maybe nothing would change at all. Logan had learned long ago that you couldn't control other people. You could only control yourself, your own property, your own responses. He finished his dinner and walked to the edge of his porch, looking out at the gate that had started everything. It was just metal and wood, really. Just a barrier marking where his land began. But it represented something more. The right to be left alone. The right to defend what was yours. The right to stand your ground against anyone who thought they could take it from you. Logan Hale had won his war, not through violence, though Maddox had certainly played its part, not through intimidation, though Karen certainly felt intimidated. He had won through patience, documentation, and an unwillingness to surrender what generations of his family had built. The forest settled into nighttime quiet around him. His cameras watched the road, recording nothing but deer and the occasional passing car. His gate stood closed and locked, exactly as it should be. Tomorrow he would return to his normal life, hailing lumber, maintaining his equipment, living quietly on land that belonged to him and no one else. Karen Draymore was already becoming a memory, fading like the last light of sunset. He went inside, locked his door, and slept better than he had in months.